Morning, everyone. Well done, everyone that managed to get onto the very catchy website. Brilliant, catchy name, EEDI. Fantastic, especially if you managed to persevere and answer lots of the questions on those 3 quizzes. It's really, really useful if you can tell me why you've answered the question the way you have, because I can't see you answer them. I can't talk to you. That's any communication I've got with you. So even if it's as simple as writing the number sentence that you've done in your head, or if you were adding the top numbers or the numerator, you could just write, I added the numerators, because then it tells me whether you understood the method and you just made a mistake in your addition or subtraction, or whether you didn't understand the method. If you just write, this is the answer because it's the answer, or because I solved it this way, I can't really help you work out where your mistake is, which means you're likely to make that same mistake again. And if you log back on today, what you'll see is I haven't answered or corrected all of the questions, but I picked the ones where there's big misconceptions, where you've misunderstood something, or where you're making the same mistake again. I've given you some feedback and I've asked you to do another question that has the same trap, the same that will give you the same chance to make that mistake. So hopefully you'll read the feedback, learn from the mistakes you've made and not make the same mistake again. So do log back on and have a look at those same 3 units. And with this website, please don't go on and just do the next unit. Wait until either myself or Mr. O'Brien's teaching you next week. Either he or myself will tell you which tests to go and do. So it's not like Rockstars or Bedrock. Don't just go on and do stuff of your own accord. Please wait till we ask you to go on. Okay, enough blabbering. Here are the answers to last Friday's worksheets. If you want to pause where you quickly mark these questions, then go for it. I'm going to scroll down quite quickly. So if you need to pause or rewind to check your answers, that would be the smart thing to do. Brilliant. Okay, and today we're going to be looking, or continuing to look at multiplying mixed numbers by whole numbers. This is something that on the quiz, most people were doing really well with. There were a couple of silly mistakes that we made, but I think we can iron those out quite quickly today. So we've got a real life problem here. We've got a pack of crayons that costs £3. And we've got a book. It's not a box of chocolates. It's a book that we don't know how much it costs. It costs a certain amount of pounds with a question mark. We do know that this book costs 2.5 times as much as the crayons. That means our number sentence is going to be 3 times 2.5. Or I could write 3.5 times 2. Oh, I didn't put equals in there. Because remember, this does not like me. Remember that multiplication is commutative. We can put it either way. So when we start to do this, when we start to solve this problem, we're going to start with our whole numbers. So we had, in this case, 2 wholes, 1, 2, and then here's my half. I'm going to multiply my 2 wholes by 3. 2 times 3 is 6. So I'm just going to store over here my 6 to remind me that I've got a 6 whole. And now I've got my half. Now I know the denominator is not going to change. The denominator is telling me the size of this. The size is always going to be that size, but there will be more of them. There's going to be 3 times as many of them. So it's 1 times 3. 1 times 3 is 3. So it's 3 halves. Those of you that are really on the ball this morning will know that 3 halves is the same as 1 whole and a half. So now what I need to do is add my 1 whole and a half. Well, let's just focus on our 6 and 1 first of all. 6 plus 1 make 7. And then I've got my half. So the answer is going to be 7.5. Remember, we're talking about pounds, not bars of chocolate this time.
So we know how to say half a pound. Half a pound is expressed in pence. So in this case, the answer would be £7, and then there's 50 pence, which if we write it in decimals is £7.50. I'm going to put the next example on the board. The workings are there, but I'd like you to just try and work them out by yourself. And then you can always look at the workings just to see if you're going in the wrong direction. So this time we've got 3 2/3 multiplied by 6. So 3 wholes, 1, 2, 3, 2/3, and we're multiplying it all by 6. Pause the video and work through this to get your answer. See if you come up with the same answer. So you've started by multiplying 3 by 6. 3 times 6 is 18. So I need to hold that 18 in my head. I'm just going to put it over here to remind myself. And then I'm doing 2 times 6. 2 times 6 is 12, and it's 12/3. I'm going to divide 12 by 3 because I want to simplify this. 3, 6, 9, 12. So I know that I can get 4 wholes. 12/3 equals 4 wholes. You might remember right at the beginning of our fractions unit, sometimes we express our fractions as a division. 12 times divided by 3 is 4. So there are 4 wholes in 12/3, because remember that is an improper fraction. So now I've got 18 and I've got 4, and I'm going to add those two together because this is where I've partitioned out my whole and my fraction, and now I'm recombining it. 18 plus 4 is 22. I'm going to put the next one on the board, and I'd like you again to pause the video and work through it. Some of you might have panicked a little bit. It's no different. Even though it's displayed in a slightly different way, we've got £2, and we know that this has to be multiplied by 1.5 to get to this. So in exactly the same way, what we're doing is 1.5 times 2 equals a mystery number. We can use a question mark, or if we were talking algebraically, we'd use an X. Doesn't really matter. So let's start with our whole numbers. 1 times 2 is 2. 1/2 times 2 is 2 halves. 2 halves is the same as 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. So therefore our answer is £3. Okay. Could you please, it's a little bit small, but I think you'll manage, have a go at question 3A. 1 1/5 times 8. Pause the video and give it a try. Okay, so 1 times 8 is the first part. We're doing our whole numbers. That's going to be 8. Nice and simple. 1/5 times 8, same thing still. It's, oh, not 6, 8/5. Well, 8/5 is the same as, I'm going to take away that 5, 1 whole and 3/5. And now I'm going to combine those two things. So 8 plus 1 becomes 9 and 3/5. Can I simplify 3/5? No, I can't. Not by keeping it as a whole number. Have a try at question B. Same process. Find your whole numbers, multiply by 6. Find your numerator, multiply by 6. Right, so 2 times 6, 12. My wholes are 12. And then I've got 2 times 6 again. This time it's my third, so I've got 12/3. That's the same as, now I'm going to use my 3 times table again. 3, 6, 9, 12. That's the same as 4. So I'm going to do 12 plus 4, and we get 16. So the answer here is 16. So remember, it is as simple as separating out the whole number and the fraction, multiplying the whole number by 6, and then with the fraction, multiplying the numerator by 6, simplifying it, and then recombining. Can you have a try at worksheet 18, please? The PDFs are on, it's on today's PDFs. Thank you. I'm going to post the answers to this in tomorrow's lesson. So don't forget, can you do the, it's very short, the worksheets for today. Can you do worksheets for today? And then can you also pop back onto EEDI and check out the feedback I've given you, and you might need to try another couple of questions. There'll only be probably maximum about 4 more questions to give it, have a try at. See you tomorrow, everyone.